Hey yo, welcome back. We're gonna be streaming some SCP Foundation Wiki tonight. I just randomly stumbled across that song and I'm like, this is too epic for this silly image, but the payoff was so good right there. Yeah, we're gonna be not playing, we're gonna be reading some SCP Foundation Wiki. So yeah, I play a little music alongside it. And yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for a while, but fair warning, if you're easily scared, maybe leave. Anyway, yeah, it's time to get back into this and read some more. So, it's been a hot second, but I've been craving reading the wiki. It's just, I've kind of been deliberating on other projects maybe I want to do that are kind of like this, where I read something, but yeah, this is the classic. At least for the channel. Goddamn funky music, that's a glorious picture. Yeah, I found this before and I shared it on stream before. But as the title says, for the stream and on the YouTube VOD, we're going to be reading SCP number 173 tonight. So, yeah, it's an apt picture. At least one of the participants in this goofy photo is going to appear tonight. So yeah, let's get back into it. Just want to make sure all my windows in OBS are properly adjusted. Okay, perfect. Yeah, welcome back. We always start sequentially after a random, and because we're repeating one tonight, I might even read like 2 random. But yeah, how could I possibly pass up the opportunity to read some 173? So let's start with a random, and then I'll probably do one at the end or something, but I won't determine it yet. And then before we get into that random one, let's see, what did we read last time? You ruined it before, but you're doing it again? Oh, you're animating something. Oh, that's cool. Nah, it's never ruined if you're animating. It just takes a lot of effort to make it and to begin with, so. That's right, that's where we're at, 171 to 180. So, we read Pinwheel of Doom, Ball of Sharp. I called it a knife ball, but whatever. An Old Castaway, Squid Tumors, ugh. The Creeping Hungry Sands of Tool, Just a Teenage Gaia, Infinite Labyrinth, Sentient Calculator, The Leviathan, and A Tube of Superglue. That one was actually more complex than it sounds. Alright, so what's our random? Huh? What? Okay, look at this for me really quick. Like, you're peeking behind the veil now. I went to the page for random when I clicked it, so there's just nothing here. Admin redirect. What? Have I been given admin privileges for this? Alright, let me try again. No, it's broken. What? Oh no. Really? What? Maybe it's finally time for me to go to a different wiki? Your random is nothing. Well, I clicked it again and I got nothing, so, One more time? It says edited 3rd January, so maybe nobody's clicked the random button since then, and it's just a silly, like, New Year's joke or something? Can I edit this and see the old page? This is really weird, like a meta wiki viewing episode. Yeah, let's edit the meta on this one. I think the page is just broken. Is there, maybe there's a third-party website I can use for this then? Because I still want to check it out. I don't know what number I'd cap it at, though. I'm just gonna see, maybe searching for it'll bring it up anyway or something? Random SCP Generator perchance.org. There are quite a few different websites for this, but it looks like perchance is the most prevalent. There's also a Reddit post. You find a random SCP, what would you do if you had it? Yikes. This is an SCP in and of itself. Yeah, it must be. For 2022, they decided to upgrade it. The true random is begun. Alright, I guess this looks kinda legit. Let's just try it this way. Since this page seems to be broken, maybe we'll give a sister website the opportunity to entertain us, huh? Let me see this really quick. Alright, this is perchance.org Scp Generator. Wow, this is kind of weird. 1 to 999. Well, the problem is we've read stuff even past like 5,000 at this point for randoms. So I have no idea what number range I would even pick. What? Okay, I guess this is like a one-off segment for this, or maybe we'll return to this in the future if it stays broken. Hey, Wiki editors, what's up? Okay, Scp Generator, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. This SCP is to be kept underground, and an individual must not interact the SCP more than 2 times. Oh no! Oh no. This SCP is an adorable sentient being that was discovered at a factory. What? Hold on. Is this just completely randomized? Oh no. So this is the random for me. I thought this was like the lore for the generation. Okay. Adorable sentient being that was discovered at a factory. She snarls at you as you start to smile at her. So this is me in character as like an 05 representative. Because we've read that far into this, I guess. Confused, you look down at the research notes you received. She seems like a completely normal. She is cuter than the other SCPs you've seen, happier too. She starts to speak in a strange language. It sounds extremely familiar, like if you focus hard enough, maybe you could comprehend it. So, psychic waifu acquired at a factory. What is happening, Bible Thump? I don't know, this is the first time I've ever done something like this. Weird. I guess, let's try another, since they're so short. Feel free to use the output of this generator for whatever you want, there's no need for credit. So this is my own unique SCP. Bren lore acquired. Okay, now we have a new one. Object Class Thaumiel. Special Containment Procedures. This SCP is to be restrained underground. It is a biological hazard. All related protocols apply. This SCP is a graceful sentient being that was discovered at a fairground. It ignores you as you make observations about it. Confused, you look down at the research notes you received. It seems like a completely normal. It is cuter than the other SCPs you've seen. Stronger, too. The room begins to slowly fill with blood. Well... So, like, underground waifu and then, like, sorta cursed underground waifu. Her language is Baba Booey. Baba Booey Bren lore. Yes. Okay. Here's a new one, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. This SCP is currently unable to be fully contained by the Foundation due to a lack of capacity. This SCP is a huge humanoid. This SCP is a huge humanoid that was discovered in a library. She greets you as you approach. You're taken aback by her bizarre appearance. She is safer than other SCPs you've seen, rarer too. You look away for a moment. Wait, where'd she go? So, like a friendly weeping angel? Cool. Object Class Kevlar. With that ability, basically. Alright, let's do 4 tonight, and if I have to keep coming back to this... No, let's do 5 is what I meant to say. I don't know why my brain output 4. Let's do 5 of these, and if the wiki page for random stays broken, you know, this. Come on, OBS. Oh, you do be chugging. This. If this stays broken, then I guess I'll just do a couple of these every stream from now on. Hey, it's my lore, technically, now. So, is that better or worse? I don't know. Object Class Keter. Excuse me. Object Class Keter, Special Containment Procedures. This SCP is currently unable to be at all contained by the Foundation due to a lack of technology. This SCP is a bizarre machine that was discovered in a school. It makes a quiet whirring noise as you scribble down your observations. Confused, you look down at the research notes you received. It seems like a completely normal device. It is meaner than the other SCPs you've seen, stranger too. It starts to speak in a strange language. It sounds like it's talking inside your head. So like weird psychic machine. Alright, what's our fifth one here? More Kevlar. I don't know if it's Keter or Keter or whatever. Object class safe, special containment procedures. This SCP is free to roam the facility at will and should be accessible by approved Foundation personnel at all times. This SCP is a beautiful creature that was discovered at a beach. It growls at you as you make observations about it. It is similar to other SCPs you've encountered. It is stranger than other SCPs you've seen, stronger too. You look away for a moment. Wait, were there always 5 of them? Yo! What? I just made like 5 fucking crazy sentient golem waifus. What? Damn! Alright, I'm bookmarking this. I love that the beginning of this Castlevania song. It always sounds like some Dragon Ball Z power acquired. Alright, well that was us checking perchance.org Scp Generator out. I didn't expect to do that, but it seems random is broken on the official wiki page, so whatever. Maybe, who knows, maybe it'll be fixed live while I'm working on this. Maybe it's in development or something and they're adding a feature to it, who knows. Alright, well let's go back to sequential then. So 171, Collective Brain Form is where we're starting. I like anything that sounds like this, it's always silly in my mind. What was the other one? One of the captions for one of my videos of the last episodes was something like that. Like, something brain mine. The SCP that's a highway in New Mexico is hilarious. Please link me that, I'd gladly read it. Since we didn't have a true random tonight, it's just all Bren lore now. We technically have Bren SCPs. Fucking weird. 171, item number 171, object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. A 4,500-liter pool of seawater located at Bioresearch Area 12 is the current research location of 171. Though not immediately dangerous, minimal physical contact between secretions of 171 and its hosts are to be observed. All communications between hosts and researchers are to be recorded and transcribed. Human hosts are to be fed a vegan diet of their choosing. Other animal hosts are to be fed appropriately. Fresh seawater is to be cycled into its tank regularly. Now that I'm thinking about it, since we're repeating 173, I might just read offshoot links of 173 tonight then. I totally forgot that I maybe skipped some of them, so that could be a good option too. It's been a whole year since the last time I read these. Anyway. Description. Originally 171 was thought to be a colony of microscopic organisms similar to 968 or 165. So we have read 165. But further investigations revealed 171 to be a single entity spanning 300 square meters when first encountered. 171 is a web-like matrix of small, fine tendrils of neurons, mucus glands, and muscle fibers suspended in a frothy foam of its own creation. It is not capable of self-locomotion and does not actively attack or feed on other living organisms. Rather, it attempts to form a symbiotic relationship with all organisms it comes into contact with. My mouse battery is a little low, so it's just going to take me a second to move to other pages. So here's 968 really quick. Just, if you want to pause, I'll figure out if I want to read that in a second. Flagella of the muscle surrounding the neural fibers work mucus, sea salt, water, and other secretions into bubbles, forming a large foam support. Any creature that spends a significant amount of time in contact with the matrix of 171 risks becoming integrated into a collective consciousness sustained by it. People who become covered in 171 foam describe a tingly or tickly sensation experienced which researchers have observed as threads of 171 tunneling through the skin to directly integrate into the subject's nervous system. In time, the simple motor neurons of subjects are expanded into an elaborate two-way positive communication nexus, allowing the brains of hosts to communicate with each other and the entity of 171. Over time, the individuality of subjects are incorporated into and shared with others of the 171 matrix, resulting in a collective consciousness in which individual personalities are non-existent. It's kind of the Borg a little bit, but it's maybe in like the early stages. This has to be a meme. 1912-J. Is that the highway to Nevada? Highway to New Mexico? Safe, we promise, we don't bite. Yeah, okay, I'll check this one out too. Very nice, thank you, Joner. Where are we at? There are currently 19 human subjects host to 171. 11 civilian, 8 Class D personnel. Subjects are capable of traversing the foam without losing conscious contact with the collective, as neuroreceptors on the subject's skin form to allow chemical communication between the subject and 171, much in the same way that terminal axons communicate with dendrites in the brain. So just the contact of skin creates like an incision in the body and makes a connectomy through blood vessels or what have you. That's kind of cool. It's almost like inner and outer simultaneous swarm of nanomachines a little bit. But it sounds more like a blob. You know, blob DNA matrix. We'll read that one after this one, don't worry. These receptors on the skin look like small white to clear moles, slightly raised, and very sensitive to touch. Some subjects disappear into the foam of 171 and are not seen again for several months. It is unknown how they survive without fresh water or sustenance. Other hosts include 2 Australian porpoises, parentheses originally 4 beach gulls, 3 have been euthanized, 41 fish of various species euthanized for study, 27 beach crabs euthanized for study, and 1 canine. Within 2 hours, most subjects begin forming neuroreceptors on the skin and receiving neural contact with 171. After 3 hours, a psychological bond has been established between subjects and the collective. After 6 hours, a complete integration and dependency on the collective has evolved. At this point, removing the subject from contact with 171 results in manic and violent behavior along with eventual complete psychological breakdown of the individual, leading to a vegetative state of mind. 4 individuals have been lost in this manner. Just popping in for 1 second, have a great night. Hey, thanks Yellow, thanks for stopping by, homie. Swarm of DNA blob matrix, exactly, that's kind of what this sounds like a little bit. Maybe I'm being biased because I love speedrun watching Tensei Slime Seasons 1 and 2. Maybe I'm blob biased. When interviewed, all subject hosts speak with the same core collective consciousness as if they were parts of a single entity. The collective is aware of itself and its composure of diverse individuals, and even laments the loss of each individual persona. 171 tells researchers that it understands what it is, but not where it came from, explaining that its own intelligence and the intelligence of the hosts it incorporated were too simple to understand or remember its origin. Researchers noted the change in 171's personality after integrating Class D personnel, and chose not to allow inclusion of violent, ill-willed, or malevolent personnel from that point on. 171 has expressed that through meditation and understanding, it chooses to avoid the consumption of other animals when possible. Interesting. Sentient blob. Addendum 171-1. 171 was first encountered by beachgoers and surfers on August 12, 2007, along the Australian coastline near Yamba, New South Wales. Is that Yamba or Yamba? I don't know. When civilians playing in the phone began experiencing abnormal skin conditions, CDC officials contacted SCP personnel when they were unable to explain the anomaly. Some very silly music for this. Addendum 171-2. Personnel who wish to be voluntarily integrated with 171 must first be subject to a complete psychological evaluation to ensure sound mental health, with special emphasis on possible disconnection from humanity and potential suicidal tendencies. As I expected, they're going to go through the full psychological evaluation. They are to be repeatedly warned that such integration is permanent and that no evidence exists to show that 171 in any way exhibits a state of higher consciousness, or indeed a consciousness significantly different from our own. If subject persists in wishing to be integrated and has been shown to be making the decision in a state of sound mind, then they are permitted to do so. It sounds like the Great Overmind, whatever it's called from Futurama. Imagine a stoner finding this shit on the beach. Like, whoa, dude, he's overclocking my brain right now. Hey, anyway, you wanna, like, come with me in the blob after surf practice to do some sick boost-off training? Biological Euclid hive mind sentient. Alright, let's check out 1912J. This seems very interesting. New Mexico. Item number 1912J. I don't understand all these newfangled diagrams that the wiki uses. Item number 1912J, object class safe. We promise we don't bite. There's an image. The image captioned a diagram of SCP-1912J. It appears to depict a rudimentary map of just the United States state New Mexico. And it's demonstrating the borders around New Mexico, so North Colorado, far northeast, near Oklahoma's panhandle, Oklahoma, mostly east, Texas, southeast Texas, South Mexico, West Arizona. Yeah, it's just I want to say even just like a scatter plot graph, but really it's just a very polygonal and dot-named representation graph of New Mexico, its largest cities, and the neighboring states. This has to actually be a meme. It's the third time you said that. It must be a meme. Okay. Special containment procedures. Containment of 1912J is to fail at every possible opportunity. Okay? The cost and ridiculousness of keeping an object as large as 1912J hidden from the general population is too great a burden on the Foundation's resources. Methods of failing 1912J's containment may include, but are not limited to, education campaigns, economic development, tourism, advertisements, and complaining on social media. Was this an advertisement for New Mexico? Move to New Mexico, we have SCPs here or something? Description, 1912J is the entire state of New Mexico in the United States. The 1912J measure is 550 kilometers by 595 kilometers with a total area of 315,000 kilometers squared, located between latitudes 31 degrees 20 to 37 degrees north and longitudes 103 degrees to 109 degrees 3 west. 1912J also contains over 2,085,000 instances of 112J1, which are capable of rapid 1912J1, which are capable of rapid self-replication and communicate through such methods as Navajo, Spanish, and English. There's like Naruto Shadow Clone no Jutsu out here with the Native American populace or something. That was a really stupid joke. Someone hates New Mexico. This sounds like a overblown ad that some state came up with. They're like, hey, let's advertise on this spooky creepypasta website. The anomalous activity of 1912J extends to its near-universal amnestic effects on witnesses. Regardless of its massive size, mention in school lessons and obvious showing on maps, almost all humans have no active memory that 1912J exists. The results of this effect include incarceration of 1912J1 instances as non-American nationals. Expectation that 1912J1 instances produce passports on domestic travel. Mislabeling of 1912J on maps as Mexico or Arizona by respected institutions such as the New York Times and its magazine. Surprise that 1912J1 instances exhibit a high degree of English fluency. So is this like a whole racism article? I don't understand what this is about. Is this about hate, like, not containing or supporting, or... This seems to be about Navajo, Native Americans, denizens of Mexico and Arizona, anybody that just could potentially be from there either historically or currently? Huh? This effect does not appear to extend to non-human organisms who have no awareness of 1912J's presence, nor of most political boundaries in the first place. 1912J's development dates to the Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo in 1848, after an anonymous... 1912J's development dates back to the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848 after an anomalous tectonic land shift saw the region transfer between Mexico and the United States. The creation of 1912J occurred on January 6, 1912, when 400 old white men in Washington, D.C., over 3,000 kilometers away, chanted and brought the object into being. Whether these men have any connection to the Church of the Broken God is still under investigation. So is this related to, the Crimson King? I forget his actual name. It is the 6th of January, which is very funny. That's very silly. 1912J1 instances have also been observed vaguely following the directions of a governor, now classified as 1912J2, who makes containment failure less attractive. What? Addendum 1912JA. Due to the continued containment success of 1912J against the Foundation's best efforts, the use of 1912J as a Thaumiel class object is currently under consideration by the O5 Council. This seems like... Okay, I mean, it's tagged as a joke, but it seems like in reparation for the destruction of Mexico and Native American and Arizonanite or whatever. I don't know what to call Arizona. That was the whatever. That's what the whatever was about. But about these cultures' history, they're a Foundation asset because they've been antagonized? What is this about? This shit's weird. I agree. What's this all about? The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. An anomalous tectonic land shift. So it's like a thaumaturgy event? A bunch of, like, fucking state government idiots caused it? They didn't understand the implications of thaumaturgy? Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Peace Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo signed to end war. This is on Retron Newser. Who knows if I can believe this, but whatever. It looks just like a typical PowerPoint presentation anyway. Mexican Cession. Peace Treaty at Guadalupe Hidalgo signed to end war. The Rio Grande became boundary. Mexico surrendered area called the Mexican Secession. So this was when the United States tried to expand into Mexico, and these are the quote-unquote spoils of war that became the United States. Or it was mostly land purchase though, like this is saying. U.S. paid $15 million for the Mexican Cession. Mexicans living in this area would have rights of U.S. citizenship. So it's something about the meme of the citizenship of natives and Mexicans and newly conferred citizens in that area? Quite weird to read such a... I don't know. I'm not into politics, but it's I don't know. I don't know what to call it. Alright, Addendum 1912JB testing log. Testing Series A. Test number 1912JA001. Procedures. A gaggle of 5 teenage males are told about the existence of 1912J. Results. Subjects forget about the existence of 1912J within 3.5 minutes. Test 1912JA002. Procedures. A gaggle of 5 teenage females are told about the existence of 1912J. Results. Subjects forget the existence of 1912J within 4 minutes. Test 1912JA5. Procedure. A gaggle of 5 D-class personnel are told about the existence of 1912J. Results. 4 subjects forget the existence of 1912J within 8 minutes, but D-95782 laments having committed murders selling methamphetamines there. D-95782 is subsequently terminated for being less interesting than the television series. What? Is this just the real world, New Mexico? We caused New Mexico. Nice. Causality joke. 1912JA17. What the... Terminated for being less interesting than the television series? What the... Are we talking about Breaking Bad? What? 1912JA17. Procedures. An expert in American history is told about the existence of 1912J. Results. The subject acknowledges 1912J's existence but cannot find its location on the map. What? 1912JA52. Procedures. An instance of 1912J1 is told about the existence of 1912J. Results. Subject stares blankly at Foundation personnel. This is very mysterious. Yeah, that was a Breaking Bad joke, I guess. Testing Series B. I'm a big fan of it, by the way. I need to finish more Better Call Saul. 1912JB008. Procedures. Multiple 1092 instances are released into 1912J. Results. All 1092 instances accidentally neutralized due to lack of water for survival. It is a desert, after all. Oh no. I see this next one. Test number 1912JB14. Procedures. 682 is released into 1912J. Result. 682 disappears from Foundation personnel after 3 days, presumed contained. 1912J1 instances noticeably more agitated. 1912J2 was not available for What? So... They just lost them out there. They lost 682 somewhere out there, and it's not even devouring everything. It's just hanging out, gambling. It's Mr. Green. Mr. Green is 682. He's unkillable, and he just gambles his pieces of 682 away to everybody in the city. 1912J2 was not available for comment. Test number 1912JB21. The procedures. Dr. Bright is released into 1912J. Within 3 hours, Dr. Bright has been made governor of the 1912J1 instances, who cited his superior responsibility to the current 1912J2. Good old Dr. Bright. Just always coming in for the sake of science. You need to end an article, just shoehorn in Dr. Bright. We're going down the rabbit hole. I think we're at the end of the rabbit hole. We found the sun at the bottom of the rabbit hole. Anti-memetic joke, location, memory affecting, safe. That was quite funny. It just sent me down like a history hole. And then at the same time, I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck? I'm just gonna skip these for now. Again, if you want to pause, you can read them, I guess. The VOD's on Twitch, the VOD's on YouTube. Or it will be, at least. Alright, let's move on to 172. We got an important one to read right now, and all the offshoots of it. You best believe when I get to 682, I'm reading that entire article that's interlinked to it. I've already read it, but by the time I catch up to it, oh fuck yeah. 682 is a large reptile. Indeed. Alright, 172. Quite short. Item number 172, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. Any personnel wishing to access 172 must receive written approval and undergo a 1-hour training session. All interaction with 172 must be overseen by at least one Class 4 operative, who may end the session at their discretion. Any and all records, drawings, or correspondence produced by 172 are to be submitted immediately to Dr. Blank for review. Reasonable requests made by 172 are to be granted after approval by Dr. Blank. 172 is allowed out of its containment area with approval, as long as it is accompanied by an armed Class 4 operative. You don't say. Armed personnel are to be stationed at the door of 172. Should 172 attempt to escape, it is to first be asked to cease and desist, and then led back to its containment area. Containment area is to be kept stocked with paper, pencils, and any additional components requested by 172. Is 172 Dr. Bright? Are you saying the blanked out doctor is Dr. Bright? I'm not sure. How many characters is that? B-R-I-G-H-T? Wait, that's 6, isn't it? This is 5. Dr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. My spelling brain just turned off for a second, so I had to count that out myself. Tables, chairs, and any additional furnishings requested by 172 are to be provided pending approval by Dr. Blank. Upon entering its dormant state, 172 should be placed in its transportation box until rewound. Okay. Description: 172 appears to be a human being. 34 years of age, 185 centimeters, parentheses, 6 foot 1 inches tall, black hair and mustache, 175.5 kilograms, 386 pounds, parentheses on parentheses, and of Russian descent. 172's personality is very friendly and intelligent, if somewhat dull and repetitive. 172 prefers dress from the 1860s and always wears a large ornate key on a long necklace. 172 has never identified itself by any name, and is not upset by being referred to by its designation number. Internally, 172 is a staggeringly complex automaton, possessing over 2 million moving parts and 18 million components at last count. Component parts appear to be made of glass, silk, wood, steel, brass, rubber, and others. Component parts appear to be made of glass, silk, wood, steel, brass, rubber, and several other substances. Similarity between this construction and that of 2776 suggests a similar creator or creators. Oh, this is bad Mario Paint music. Here's 2776 if my internet will load it. His name is Ricardo. Is there a Ricardo SCP? That would be perfect. Okay, I guess my internet is taking 5 million years. To be fair though, the upload speed's good. I'm at 2.6% drop frames. This one's just taking a second. Oh, it's a massive article, okay. 2776, is this the reincarnation of George Washington? Yeah, I think this is like the remake version of George. Good old George. What the fuck? Anyway. Good old George. Wooden Teeth George. Ricardo George Washington. Yeah, there you go. 172 also has several modules that can be installed via a hatch in its chest. These appear to alter behavior, speech, movement, and several parameters based on position in the body cavity and module components. 172 has 46 modules at current count, What is this, like a meta-president reference or something? What? He has a Joe Biden fuse, he has a Trump fuse, he has an Obama fuse. What? Is 46 important? Was this edited the last time we got a new president? What the fuck? 172 has 46 modules at current count, having built 3 of these while in Foundation custody. Currently, 172 is loaded with the Engineer module. Modules have been identified by 172 as Caretaker, Soldier, Medic, Mother, and King, though this is by no means a comprehensive list. Refer to Document 172-2. It is George Washington. Looks like him. Looks like a wax sculpture, but a humaniform TARDIS. Looks like a clockwork person or something, but he could be a TARDIS, who knows? Under no circumstances are modules to be replaced without O5 level authorization. My god, he's all TF2 classes! I was just thinking that too. I think I might read that one tonight, it looks so silly. Well, if this is similar composition, then 172 is powered via a mainspring, which is wound with the key in 172's possession after inserting it into a hole at the base of the neck. 172 can operate for 8 hours on a single full wind-up. 172 appears wholly human when in operation and is capable of all basic human functions. 172 has no need to eat, breathe, or sleep, but will perform all of these functions if allowed to do so. Could be a waste of energy to do these things or something. 172 is extremely obedient and will follow any instructions given to it to the best of its ability. 172 does not view its existence as strange, and asserts that it is human even when shown its internal components. 172 is also extremely delicate, and great care must be taken to preserve and maintain its function. An incredibly advanced humaniform android, basically. Very Asimovian. 172 has also shown a level of mechanical skill nothing short of miraculous. Yeah, something this complex has to have the ability to perform self-maintenance. 172 is capable of analyzing and copying any mechanical device it comes in contact with. Oh, okay. This was first shown when it became apparent that locks of any kind cannot contain 172. It has also made several copies or upgraded versions of SCP technology, all based on incredibly complex clockwork. Most notably, data expunged. Is this the Clockworks reference? Most notably, data expunged. Document 172-4R. Notes on recovery of 172. 172 was recovered after the Great War in a chamber below a former vacation home of the Tsars. Exposed due to stray bombing, the chamber and its contents were badly damaged, but 172 was found intact in an iron crate, along with many modules and its key. Item was removed by operatives and wound up inside testing facilities. 172 appeared to wake up from a deep sleep and proceeded to greet everyone present in Russian. When Agent Blank shouted in surprise, 172 pushed against its chest and repeated its greetings in English. 172, when questioned, stated that its last memory was playing with a young boy. The boy left, and 172 began to feel very tired, so it returned to the box. It has no memory of its creation, creator, or name. Heavy TF2 is an SCP. Who touched Natasha? Automaton, Clockwork, Euclid, Humanoid, Sentient. I mean, to be fair, in the TF2 universe, there are now, like, Heavy, Scout, Engineer, etc. robots. The only other thing is Mother, but I guess that could be the announcer. King would be Saxon. There's a Saxon game mode. But I guess a robot version of it? Caretaker? I guess Medic? No. Caretaker and Medic, so maybe the Spy? I'm assuming also Civilian, because that was an old Team Fortress Classic class. I'm sure it's still in the back end of TF2. I feel like SCPs got very popular around the time TF2 exploded, so this could be a TF2 reference. Automaton, Clockwork, Euclid, Humanoid, Sentient. Alright, let's move on to the main course of tonight. Oh boy, here we are doing it again. We've done this one before, but we're doing it again. Man vs. Machine is very fun. Really? I've only played it like 3 times. That's whenever I stopped playing TF2. I gave away all my rare hats and stuff. Alright, welcome back. This is the second time reading this, but this time we're going to do a deep dive of this one. This is 173, as the image says SCP-173 in containment. Again, there's a copyright associated with this. I'm not going to monetize this video if it ever gets to that point where YouTube, I have enough subscribers, or Twitch, you know, whatever. I won't monetize this creator. The most popular boy, yes, and there's so many variations of him. Let's actually get into that first. Scp-173 Versions. Because this is the meta video for this. The meta stream. Like I said, we've read this before, but here we go. Here's one. This is a different Containment Breach version. This is like an evolved Containment Breach version. Is this like the Gary's mod version? What the fuck? I don't know how many versions of 173 there are. Let's see. I know I'll recognize someone though. Figura? Okay, I guess this is something somebody made in Figura. So yes, the original is copywritten. We've seen this one before, which is fucking hilarious. The JoJo version of 173. He's so beautiful. Look at him. Look at my boy. I will play Containment Breach now that we've actually gotten to 173 formally. There's 049, which is technically 173 if that's your Sona. There's Fragmented Minds, which this is actually a separate game, I believe. So here's 173 from Fragmented Minds. Again, the original is copywritten by the owner, so there are many variations. Here's Roblox. There's Roblox Peanut. I guess it's a download image, never mind. What the fuck? Okay, 173 Mobile Speed Paint, I guess. Here's a Unity version of 173. Tell me your secrets wall. Tonight's just a very memey stream, huh? I guess this is a different version? This is a 9-gag version? He looks like a fucking penis, not a peanut. Containment Breach looks pretty cool. We'll definitely be streaming that. I'll be streaming that. I just waited until I got deep enough into this series. So yeah, here's another version of one we've seen earlier, just a few seconds ago. More Roblox. Here's a Lego version. Lego 173? God, that's fucking horrifying. What the fuck? Okay, here's like Packing Peanut 173. What the fuck? Here I'm thinking like, oh, I'll just use a different image for the VOD for this. Okay, I guess we got Packing Peanut. This is a Roblox version that is, the developer imported models quite easily. What else? What else? Here's one. This is Containment Breach as well. This might be an earlier iteration. Looks like we've seen all the very popular ones. Here, D-Class 173. How is that even possible? I guess here's some old versions that are archived on Gary's mod. He's so adorable. Yeah, look at him. He's so adorable, isn't he? That's a big yikers. Wait, whoa. Magic card? 173 Magic the Gathering version. Nice. 173 cannot attack unless there are no other creatures on the battlefield and cannot block unless all creatures attacking player controls are tapped. Death Touch indestructible. No, it can die in Containment Breach at least. When 173 deals combat damage to an opponent, that player loses the game. Oh, fuck. This is like Victory Dragon. Wait, is this a dancing video? No fucking way. As we have silly Zelda music playing. 173 is best boy. We get the full zoom in on this. What? Oh, it's still on... What? Okay, never mind. I just had to change the source for it. What is this? God damn it. Oh, there's your 173-bit. Remastered? No, we're not going further down the rabbit hole with this one. Hold on. There's no fucking way. Alright, I think we've looked at enough variations. Let's just read it. Wait, no, what? Is this like Freddy Fazbear 173? Newgrounds version. What the fuck? 173 Pokemon cards. Oh no, I'm terrified. Yeah, Fortnite Dance 173 is very scary. Moai painted totem head. What is Krylon brand spray paint? Is that a meta reference? Retractable rebar fingers allow 173 to snap necks of victims. Okay, cool. It has been theorized or maybe even confirmed that he's part rebar. Blood and feces! 173 is capable of changing the chemical properties of this substance due to a limited degree to suit its own needs. Always forget about the blood and feces part. Anything else we should look at with 173? 173 trolling Roblox version? There's like a chibi version on Reddit. Yo, here's the real reference. I don't know what Shadow the Hedgehog has to do with this. There's 173 the Weeping Angel, the original. I don't. Can Shadow the Hedgehog like stop time? Here it is. This is what I've been looking for. So this is the official new version of Containment Breach. This boy right here. Not this weird glasses anime dude. This guy. I think that's the new version, the copyright-free version. Anyway, this stream is literally a meme showcase. Kinda not surprised we've gone down this rabbit hole like this. I always do this on like YouTube night anyway. We even got... What? No way. Is this a real thing? 173J? Oh no. He has a sombrero now. What? Again with the hat! Alright. Chimby 173 sombrero version. We even got like a stand acquired version. Humanized. The fuck? Why didn't I just look at this? Change.org. I mean, they look very similar. I don't know what this person on Change.org is talking about. Anyway. Yeah, here's 173, the original. The standoff. I'm sure if you made them look at each other, it would be a quantum lock. Yeah, here's 173. We've seen it before. I guess the ground is covered in feces and blood. It's very, like, degraded, rusted iron looking. So I guess that would definitely indicate that. It's like, in the bottom right corner, there's like some weird metal, bent metal or something. He's Luffy. This guy right here, this guy's Luffy. So when you take too much gum fruit, my theory has always been that his ass is so dirty and that's where all of the shit comes from. That whenever he kills somebody, he kind of digests whatever part of the neck he snaps or whatever. And he shits out the rest of it. I don't know. Look at him. He hasn't showered in like 1,000 years. All that tummy hair he's got going on there. Pets 173 on the stomach. Yeah, it's just a cursed sculpture. It's in like a weird facility. It's definitely not indicative of a modern Foundation facility. It's more like someone's fucking weird electrical shed with movable windows, and the outside is just, you can't see it. Someone made a cursed blood statue at some point with like thaumaturgy, alchemy, golem blood magic, and painted it with a shit ass. And that's how this thing came into being, I think. Oh, the 173J version is Luffy. Is there a... I have that old meme of Roblox One Piece. Episode 173. You know what? Fuck that. That's cursed. I'm not even gonna try looking. Yeah, he's in like some weird gymnasium or something. There's some gaps in the ceiling where the metal sort of connects to the structure. It's hard to really describe what this is. It's just some shitty... Yeah, he's in someone's basement is what Joner says. Basically, yeah. There's some like piping going up along the wall towards the right-hand side here. It goes up to the ceiling. There's also like, again, maybe like iron or copper-lined tube lamp lights. And on the left wall, it's just vertical beams. Who knows what it is? It could be just steel, rebar, or whatever. I give up trying to describe this. It's a cursed doll. It's a murder doll made of blood magic and hopes and dreams, and it's meant to destroy fucking everything, I guess. Although 682 is kind of the same way. At least that thing talks. The Isaac basement. Yeah, this is Isaac. Basically, unkillable, it'll snap your neck. The only thing it does is, you don't see it, and it's always crying, of course. No, this version's never crying, but it might as well be. Alright, welcome back. 173, Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. Item 173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter 173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with 173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: moved to Site 19, 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. 173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within direct line of sight. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with 173. Personnel assigned to enter containment are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. Creator information: the image used in the 173 article is the art piece, quote, Untitled 2004, unquote, by Izumi Kato. The photograph was taken by Kesuke Yamamoto. All rights are reserved by the artists. Here is Izumi Kato's website. Of course, they have a sculpture of 173 as well. That's very cute. Let's take a look at that as well. It's, of course, it's copywritten them, but I'm not going to monetize this, remember. So, Izumi Kato, if you ever come after me for this, just know you're sole proprietor earning money out of this video, I think. I don't think anybody else has a copyright on anything else that's going to be in this video. Oh, that's right, except for my bren lore earlier, that's right. Anyway. And then here is Kesuke Yamamoto? This is their website, Sky the Bathhouse. Again, another 173 image. They also have some 173 inspired art, it looks like. Weird, like, fucking... I don't even... like, furniture babies. What is this? Okay, definitely looks like 173. Anyway. A note of caution, 173 is a secondary use of the image of the art piece, quote, Untitled 2004, unquote, which was created by Izumi Kato. We just saw that link. Actually, this might lead to something else. What? Okay, never mind. Same thing. The concept of 173 does not have any relationship with the artist's original concept of, quote, Untitled 2004, unquote. The sculpture, its likeness, and the photograph have not been released under any Creative Commons license. Only the text of this article is released under Creative Commons. This sculpture and its likeness may not be used for commercial purposes under any circumstances. Izumi Kato has graciously chosen to allow the use of the image Untitled 2004 by the SCP Foundation and its fanbase for non-commercial purposes only. Again, this creator, me, Bren, I am not going to personally copyright or even try to profit off of this one. 1. Do not contact or negotiate Izumi Kato about anything related to 173. 2. Do not negotiate commercial license of 173 images at all. 3. Do not ask the SCP Wiki to handle Untitled 2004 commercial license negotiations with Izumi Kato. 4. Untitled 2004 images are not available commercially for use in connection with 173. There is no exception. Autonomous Euclid featured hostile observational sculpture. Well, now that we've gotten all the copyright, out of the way, we can move past that. Izumi Kato and Keisuke Yamamoto. Thanks for your attributions, credit. I don't even know what to call it. So yes, as of saying that, this is a Creative Commons License 0. You can just reproduce this at will. This video, VOD, or stream, and so long as Izumi Kato or Keisuke Yamamoto agree with it. Are we clear? Alright, we're clear. As long as it is a Bren product, it is also their product. Therefore, if you want to distribute Bren product of that, then fine, go for it. I don't care. Just don't monetize it. Why would anyone go into 173's containment chamber? I don't know. That is a tears up, though. He does look very Isaac-like. Why would you copyright an SCP? Or like a picture of one? It goes back years, my friend. This wiki and all of its articles and all of the websites, there's been copyright battles back and forth. A lot of creators, though, that make these just don't care. If I ever made one, I wouldn't care. Although we do have the ones from earlier. Those are my copyright. I'm sending the DMCAs right now. Item number 174, Object Class Strike-Through Safe Unstrike-Through Euclid. See Incident 174-A. So I guess there wasn't really many interlinking articles with 173. That's kind of surprising. Special Containment Procedures 174 is to be contained within Storage Unit 7 at Site 19. Removal of 174 from containment requires the approval of 2 Level 4 personnel familiar with the entity. It is preferable to use personnel with high psychic resistance scale scores when interacting with 174. All personnel in contact with 174 are to undergo psychological evaluation. Those who display obsessive or protective tendencies toward the item are to be treated with Class B amnestics and monitored for 72 hours. Edmund made 173, not Izumi Kato. Let's see, I think Isaac was like 2010 or whatever on Newgrounds, right? That'd be nuts. Edmund having the rights to 173. Addendum to Containment Procedures, double blank, 20, double blank. Following Incident 174-A, 174 and the main chamber of Storage Unit 7 are to be monitored at all times via video surveillance. Abnormal activity must be reported to Dr. A. Blank immediately. Furthermore, a GPS tracking device is to be installed on 174 in order to expedite recovery should the item translocate outside of Foundation custody. Description 174 is a wooden ventriloquial figure measuring 53 centimeters from head to toe, with somewhat ragged clothing and slight damage to several sections. Judging by the item's style and state of repair, it dates from the early 20th century. The eyes and mouth of 174 can be manipulated by means of a mechanism inside the figure. When viewed in peripheral vision, subjects report on occasion that 174 is looking directly at them, with an expression of longing or sadness. When subjects look directly at 174, this anomalous expression is not visible. Viewing 174 indirectly, such as in a mirror or a live video feed, appears to increase the likelihood of this effect manifesting itself. So it's quite mimetic. Personnel in the vicinity of 174 report a general feeling of sadness or sympathy directed towards the figure. Personnel in the vicinity of 174 report a general feeling of sadness or sympathy directed toward the figure, but cannot explain any reason for these feelings. Prolonged exposure can lead to personnel personifying the figure to greater extents. Those with particularly low psychic resistance scale scores will in some cases begin to act as if 174 were a living being, e.g. cradling it as if it were a baby. When informed of their abnormal behavior, all personnel revert to standard behavior patterns for at least several minutes. Subjects who place 174 on their hand report an urge to converse with it. When questioned, they frequently report that the figure is lonely and needs companionship. The subject will also begin speaking for 174 and manipulating its expression. When speaking for the figure, the subject's voice will take on a higher-pitched, childlike tone. Recordings taken with high-sensitivity microphones have determined that at no point does the figure itself actually speak or make any discernible noise. Insanity Ventriloquist. Regardless of the subject's experience, the act will be almost perfect. The conversation will quickly move toward a discussion of the figure's emotional state, particularly in relation to its past, in most cases leading to the retelling by the figure of a story of how it was abandoned or mistreated. No one story has ever been repeated, and therefore which, if any, is true is unknown. Researchers have theorized that 174 may have low-level telepathic abilities, as each story seems to be based around a theme that will have particular resonance with the current subject. Let me just check my psychic resistance level, hold on. It's like that shit that Scientologists do. What is it called? It's like the fucking dumbass test or something. They have this weird electromagnet object, and they're like supposed to tell how much they can trust you off of you like touching this electromagnet and your response to it. Like, sure, I guess it could do something. Hasn't real science determined that it does nothing? But it's like this weird fucking like 7-hour test where they make you touch this light producing magnet or some shit. Hold up, let me get my psychic test out. Pulls out like a fucking spoon and makes you bend it. Like, what is their objective test anyway? It's the Foundation, who knows? They have like temporal thaumaturges in like some separate facility controlling meta facilities at this point. Who knows what we're dealing with? Past this point, subjects will show great affection for 174 and will attempt to protect it from Past this point, subjects will show great affection for 174 and will attempt to protect it from people who come too close or try to interact with it, in some cases with deadly force. Subjects often refer to 174 as their baby, or use similarly strong terms of endearment when referring to it. Scientologists are weird, I agree. I try not to get into like religion or politics or anything, but that's just one thing that I definitely absolutely feel strongly about, that Scientology is fucking dumb. Anyway. Yeah, hold up. Let me write a book about like how an alien brain mind galactic force is gonna come to our planet, and like my book is gonna make its own religion, lol. Yikes. Yikes. The effect persists for several hours after 174 and the subject have been separated, and in at least one case the effect had not dissipated 2 weeks after final interaction. Whether the effect would ever have lessened is unknown, as the subject in question was terminating... Bro, my tongue. Whether the effect would ever have lessened is unknown, as the subject in question was terminated owing to lack of compelling reason for further study. Subjects who are completely isolated from 174 will become paranoid as to the figure's safety, and often undergo a mental collapse similar to that observed in mothers separated from young children. Class B or stronger amnestics have been shown to be effective in curing both the obsessive effect and the majority of any resultant mental trauma. However, almost all who undergo such treatment complain of feelings of loss and can become depressive. Let me bend this spoon with my pure mental fortitude. It's like Alakazam Sabrina moment. Speaking of copyright holders who are just outright crazy with their copyright. I'm not saying 173's copyright holder is, but the Kadabra dude. This dude thinks Nintendo stole his name because his like Japanese name is the translation for Kadabra or whatever. So weird. Addendum 174-1. Yeah, it's like some crazy story. He like goes paranoid and he thinks they're making fun of him or something by using this name that clearly has no resemblance to him. Addendum 174-1. Experiment log transcription of video footage. Subject D14285, female, 21, no history of violent crime. Supervising researcher Dr. A. Blank. Location containment cell A4. Researcher and staff observing from behind two-way mirror, Site 19. D14285 is ordered to place 174 on their hand. Subject does so after initial hesitation. After several seconds, subject begins a mundane conversation with 174. After roughly 2 minutes, the subject asks 174, "What happened to you?" At which point the figure begins to recount the story of how it was left behind and damaged in a house fire, and subsequently discarded by its original owner. Note, subject's records indicate that her house was the victim of an arson attack in 19 double blank. Subject begins to console the figure and reassure it with standard positive statements. Figure remarks that it is lonely and wants to find friends. Subject begins to punch and pound the door with their free hand. When the guards enter the cell, firearms raised, the subject recoils to the corner of the cell, cradling the figure and whispering to it, exact words not picked up by microphone. Guards succeeded in removing 174 from the subject and leave the cell. At this point, the subject screams, "They have him, my wonderful baby," and begins punching and kicking the door in a futile escape attempt. So it's kind of like that blob we read about earlier, the DNA blob. Symbiotic relationship, but this one ends similarly in just drastic depression and badness. Your voice is like very calming, like I'm falling asleep listening to your voice. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I hope it's very, very good for you, very enjoyable. Note, at this point, Dr. A ordered the experiment concluded. D14285 was terminated after attempts to calm her failed. This experiment was one of the first conducted with 174, before the efficacy of amnestics had become apparent. So, little time reference there too, before the Foundation had reliable amnestics. Addendum 174-2, Incident 174A. On double blank 20 double blank, Dr. A blank entered Storage Unit 7 to find 174 sitting on the floor next to its containment unit, looking directly at the main entrance door. The door to 174's unit had been sealed shut, with no access having been logged in the previous week. After being replaced in containment, video surveillance was installed within Storage Unit 7 as a precaution against future translocations, and a GPS tracking unit was attached to 174. Compulsion Euclid Mind-Affecting Performance Tool. So this is like an object that makes you love it and you feel like you can't live without it or some shit like that? Yeah, it definitely seems to be the conclusion to this one. Alright, well that one was interesting. Again, it draws parallels to the one we just read, so... I feel like we're... being given like a mental framework to work with here for a future one or something. Alright, here's 175. Quite short. Oh no, the Wario Whispering soundtrack. Wario Land 4. Jeez. Every time I hear that, it's so goofy. No, it's time for Phantasy Star music, damn it. 175, item number 175, object class safe. Special containment procedures. 175 is to be kept in a metal safe when not undergoing testing. The safe is to be secured in a storage room at Site Triple Blank, with other low-maintenance SCPs. The room will be guarded by 2 security guards at all times in accordance with security protocol data expunged. It is Triple Blank, right? Yeah. Description: when not active, 17... I'm doing the thing again where I mix up number pronunciation, or whatever. Description: when not active, 175 resembles a yellowed piece of parchment, slightly larger than a standard piece of paper. The edges are torn and it appears weathered and brittle. However, 175 is actually quite supple and is indestructible despite its worn appearance, having resisted all attempts to remove pieces for testing. The more interesting properties of 175 are revealed when moved in relative proximity to a buried object. The proximity range seems to vary under unknown parameters. 175 has become active in distances from as short as 30 meters to as far as several kilometers. However, on average, the distance ranges between 100 and 200 meters. When 175 becomes active, its appearance changes to become either a map, a set of directions to the buried object, or some hybrid thereof. Though the approximate size and shape of 175 remain constant, its appearance may change to resemble various other paper and parchment varieties. I was going to call it verities. What? Though the approximate size and shape of 175 remain constant, its appearance may change to resemble various other paper and parchment varieties, and the writing or drawing implement and the writing or drawing implement and style vary as well, seemingly based on the mindset of the individual or individuals who buried the object. For a partial list of buried objects and their barriers, see document 175-08. 175 is a piece of paper, I guess? It sounds kind of like the Marauder's map from Harry Potter, but it transmutates into whatever you need. So maybe it turns into a map and compass or something too? But it's for buried stuff. What? Document number 175-08. Partial list of barriers, buried objects, and appearances of 175. All experiments took place at data expunged, unless otherwise stated. Dr. Blank buried a wooden box. 175 became a piece of graph paper with a pencil-drawn map of the surrounding area, complete with a legend in the bottom left. Interesting. The location of the treasure was clearly marked. Dr. Blank remarked that the handwriting on 175 looked identical to his own. Blank Blank, a 5-year-old female child of Dr. Blank, was instructed to bury a wooden box with a couple of her toys in it. 175 became a crayon-drawn map of the surrounding area on a white piece of paper, clearly modeled on the style of a normal child of that age. Blank Blank, a 10-year-old male child of Agent Blank, was instructed to bury a box containing some of his comic books. 175 became a list of instructions on lined yellow paper based on several landmarks in the area, parentheses, trees, rocks, etc. The instructions included where to start and how many paces to take to the next landmark, the direction to turn, and eventually where to dig. It's like a RuneScape clue scroll. The instructions were complete with misspellings appropriate for the knowledge of a child of that age. So it's kind of like psychic paper. You know, the Doctor Who reference, but it's a psychic map. Yeah, this is really interesting. Blank Blank, a well-respected professional landscape artist, was instructed to bury an empty wooden box. 175 became a canvas with an accurately painted overhead view of the surrounded area. 175 became a canvas with an accurately painted overhead view of the surrounding area, with an X to mark the spot where the box was buried. So it's like an ever-changing map. Yeah, and it seems to get more complex if like a map maker interacts with it or something. Blank Blank, a professional puzzle maker and crossword puzzle maker, was instructed to bury a wooden box. 175 became a piece of graph paper with several linked crossword and various other word puzzles, along with a meta puzzle. Solving the smaller puzzles was necessary to find the letters to solve the meta puzzle, which was a list of instructions for where to find the buried object. That's kinda neat. Agent Blank, who remembered a box with various objects that had been... So this guy already buried something. Agent Blank, who remembered a box with various objects that he had buried in his backyard at the age of 8, traveled with a research team to data expunged. So now it's a time capsule. 175 became a pencil-drawn map of the surrounding area, along with labels that did not match his current handwriting, but did match his handwriting from papers his parents had kept that he had done at that age. Interesting. So it's like temporally psychic. Most remarkably, the map included several trees that had been cut down in the years since the box was buried. I like this one too. It's quite interesting and it's not dangerous. So many of them are dangerous and just eat people. A D-class personnel who had been a professional architect before his conviction as a serial killer was instructed to bury a wooden box. Data expunged. For full details, those with sufficient clearance should see Addendum 175-13. During transport of 175, along with numerous other safe SCPs to data expunged, one of the guards in the truck reported a high-pitched whine coming from the crate containing 175. As per protocol, the truck was stopped and evacuated, and the nearest task force, Mobile Task Force Omega-7, Pandora's Box, was sent to investigate after being briefed on the contents of the crate. According to the debrief, they found a sheath of metal which was emitting the whine, and the sound increased in pitch and volume as they neared a specific location. Digging in this area uncovered SCP Triple Blank, at which point the metal sheet reverted to the inactive state of 175. What? Interesting. This thing has a longer history than I've given it credit. Temporary ever-changing map. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the name of this article. Addendum 175-13 on blank, presumably a date. A D-class personnel who had been a professional architect prior to his conviction as a serial killer was instructed to bury a wooden box. The intended purpose of this experiment was to see what 175 would look like when buried by an architect. When Dr. Blank looked at 175, once the box was buried, he immediately screamed, dropped to his knees, clutching his head with both hands, dropping 175 to the ground, luckily face down. Agent Blank, who was standing by the side of Dr. Blank during this experiment, reported a flickering mass of color and a sense of extreme nausea at a glimpse of 175 before it drifted to the ground. He quickly dug up the box in order to reset 175. Dr. Blank went into a coma after this incident. An intense psychological screening of the D-class subject revealed a well-hidden schizophrenia and sociopathia. What did I say, sociopathia? And intense psychological screening of the D-class subject revealed a well-hidden schizophrenia and sociopathy. Since this experiment, strict protocol has been put in place to protect the mental health of researchers. So, depending on how fucking crazy the subject is, maybe the map's output will just give you something fucking absurdly weird and bad. Very fucking cursed, but okay. So kinda as well, like psychic paper from Doctor Who, it kind of projects the will of the viewer, or the participant, I guess. So it really didn't matter that something was getting buried. It was more that this guy had an association with it, a psychic link, and then he, of course, abused it to show like a fucking discarded mass of flesh pile on the map or something. Who knows what it is. Map, metamorphic, safe, telepathic. Yeah, despite its ending as like a weird fucking crazy bit, that one was cool. Quite cool. Alright, 176. It has an image. The caption of the image is just SCP-176. This looks like a Fallout 4 factory that it would raid. And it has like that one quest where there's a bunch of armored raiders who have flamers and stuff. And there's that gigantic vat of like iron, molten iron. And they're gonna sacrifice the dude's kid. Some kid from another settlement nearby. A settlement nearby needs your help. I used to remember coming up on this and I'm like, oh, this is a nice low-level dungeon. I'm always excited to do it. Even if it's like Fallout 4 randomizer. I'm like, this will be a nice challenge every time I come here. Doesn't matter what part of the quest I'm doing or if I'm even doing it. Power Armor Factory, exactly. But now that I see this, even though this ain't it, or it might be based on it, I don't know, reminds me of it. Every time I go back to that Fallout 4 area, I just remember this one video of this guy going to save the kid, and he's standing right next to the vat of molten iron, and he just pushes him in. He's like, I'll defend you, and then just pushes the NPC into the vat. And nobody reacts. No NPCs in the area do anything different. Just, I don't know, it's such a weird fucking video, I love it. So fucking odd. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely a factory, maybe even a power armor factory. In the foreground, there's a gigantic fence blocking any entry from the viewer. Looks like there might be a sign on the fence, but the fence is quite dilapidated and it looks like people have broken in. Because it's kind of ajar a little bit. Not open, but pushed, that's for sure. On the far right, we can see what appears to be maybe some construction equipment. Maybe like a, what do they call it? Not a chair lift, but a lift. We can see the arm of it and the base where it has its treads. The building itself, it's clearly in like some forest or something. Death by Iron. That sounds like a sick metal band. Yeah, there's some forestry and greenery out in the distance in the background. Past the fence, closer to the foreground, there's like either some ventilation or garbage cans or something. There's a stairwell outside of the building leading up, made of metal or something. It has even guards on the side of it, rail guards. There's a lot of windows on the building. It appears to be early morning, this picture. It's very sky blue out, with what appears to be a sunrise in the distance. You can see some shadows of, or some light of windows from somewhere else reflected on a side of the sub-building of this building. It's like the janitor's closet or the main entrance or whatever. Honestly, it's just a very brown, bleak, 3 or 4 story factory with a smokestack on top. Going further than the image even describes, there's a little bit of white at the tip of the smokestack. On the far left side, we can see another smokestack, or maybe just a very large tube. Again, at the quote-unquote main entrance is a blue metal door or something like that. Dilapidated, painted white exterior. It's quite small. It has like a weird vent or a small window on the edge of it on the left-hand side. Above it is some like odd ventilation going into a huge boiler or something. I don't know what the fuck that is. Which has a ladder and again railing and a guard along it. So like further towards the background, foreground, above that quote-unquote main entrance, white building with the blue door, there's another entrance into what looks like the second story. It is open. Or maybe it has a black door. But yes, there is a railing guarding it, yellow railing. Again, all the windows on the eastern side here are whatever on the right-hand side of the building are lit up by the sun. Left side is sort of still in the darkness, but there's lots of windows, again, huge panes on the top 3 stories-ish. Lower level, there's like a jut-out L portion of the building, which just looks like a cafeteria segment, or more just more factory floor or something. Salt factory? Could be. I don't know what else to use to describe this image. There's just a ton of different types of windows. Some of the ones above the anterior second floor entrance are broken. I can't even begin to describe all the different types of windows. But yeah, it's a typical factory looking ass. Of course, on the top there's like what appears to be a radio antenna, maybe a vent, another like chimney heating element type of vent, small stack. Then some weird like hangman on the left hand side. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know. The description, or the name of the image is 176.jpg, by the way. Alright, item number 176, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures 176 is contained on site under the cover of industrial chemical contamination. Any civilians attempting to enter 176 must be detained. Multiple high-speed cameras are set up within the observation room and linked. Multiple high-speed cameras are set up within the observation room and linked to continuously running analysis computers. If any deviation is observed in the recorded sequence, all recorded data must be immediately backed up and senior staff notified. Factory looking ass bitch. That's a good insult. I don't know where you'd use that, but that's a good insult. Description: 176 is an abandoned chemical factory situated near data expunged. The building consists of a factory floor and an observation room on the second floor, separated from the main room by one-way mirrors. There are 3 entrances to the building. A 3-bay loading dock, whose doors have been welded shut. A ground floor employee entrance. A second floor observation room entrance, accessible via a metal staircase on the north end of the building. So I was right. The blue door is the employee entrance. When the main building is entered via the loading dock or employee entrance, no anomalies are observed. Merely an empty room in severe disuse and disrepair with a small amount of metallic debris consistent with a stripped-down abandoned factory. The inside staircase leading up to the observation room is missing and inaccessible, and so far every attempt to enter the observation room via the inside of the factory through the access door or windows has failed. So let me guess, this is a spatio-temporal anomaly? Everybody sees something different when they go in through a certain entrance? When the observation room is entered via the second floor outside door, a factory observation room consistent in disuse and disrepair to the rest of the building is found. However, when the factory floor is viewed through the observation room windows, the anomalous property of 176 is visible. The view from the observation room window shows a static repeating scene that lasts approximately 11.3 seconds before repeating. Visible through the window is a room of the same dimensions and layout as the factory floor, but painted white and sterilized. Set up in the middle of the room is a huge electronic device of indeterminate function covering at least 50 square meters and expending. Set up in the middle of the room is a huge electronic device of indeterminate function covering at least 50 square meters and extending approximately 2 meters in height at its highest point. 5 individuals in white clean suits appear to be working on the device. So it's like some trans-temporal anomaly. They're trying to figure out the time computer and they got stuck. Walks out of there, I saw fucking demons. The demons, John. This does kind of sound like a Shin Megami Tensei shitpost, too. The time anomaly, it caused the apocalypse. Approximately 5.9 seconds into the scene, the employee entrance door bursts open, and 4 individuals wearing black tactical armor with no identifying marks or emblems enter the room and open fire on the research personnel. At 11.3 seconds, the device in the center of the room emits an intense... At 11.3 seconds, the device in the center of the room emits an intense flash of light and radiation, and the scene resets. Analysis of thousands of instances of the scene has shown no variation in the sequence. So far, all attempts at interacting with the scene have failed. Any attempts to breach the window or door from within the observation room are met with resistance inconsistent with the suggested strength of the materials comprising their frames. To date, all attempts that have resulted in successful penetration of the door or window have resulted in damage. To date, all attempts that have resulted in successful penetration... To date, all attempts that have resulted in successful penetration of the window... To date, all attempts that have resulted in successful penetration of the door or window have resulted in the damage being instantly reverted, along with the sequence during the burst of light. Any tools or limbs extended outside of the observation room are clearly... Shaking my head right now. Any tools or limbs extended outside of the observation room are cleanly severed and have never been found. This factory caused several wars. I could see them trying to go into the mirror universe for this or something, I don't know. Research is ongoing into the nature of the device at the center of 176, as well as the identities of the individuals involved. Addendum 176-1. Further analysis of individuals in 176. Analysis has yielded the following information regarding the individuals visible in the scene. Unidentified researcher number 1. Male Caucasian, approximately 40 years of age, with brown hair and green eyes. Stands in the southeast corner of the room, reading from a standing monitor. Hit 3 times in the chest by automatic fire at approximately 8.1 seconds, and appears to be killed instantly. Unidentified researcher number 2. Male Asian, approximately 35 years of age, with black hair and brown eyes. Stands to the left of researcher number 1, carries a clipboard with indecipherable writing on a notepad. Hit once in right shoulder at 8.0 seconds before dropping to the floor, out of sight behind the device. So maybe a rescue effort could be done here, and then the mathematical mechanics of this could be figured out. It's just getting someone in there that's fast enough, or someone that can slow down time. Unidentified researcher number 3, female Caucasian, approximately 40 years of age, with brown hair and amber eyes. Sits at a desk in the southwest corner of the room, working at a computer station. Is out of the line of sight when the gunfire begins, and takes cover under the desk. Appears to be reaching for a weapon of some sort shortly before the end of the sequence. This sounds kind of like that one movie. Is it just called Sky? Or is Sky the input that you put in to finish the movie? Hold on, let me look this up. It's like a time computer, and his Linux OS password is Sky. And the guy, one of the assailants, looks like my stepdad. Time computer movie Sky. No Man's Sky. Universe. I don't know. There's no way I'm finding this. Just keeps giving me No Man's Sky bullshit. It's on Netflix probably still. Time computer movie? I want to see if I can find what I'm looking for. How to set up a sleep timer for your Netflix show or movie. I've never fallen asleep to anything while watching Netflix. It's very hard for me to fall asleep to anything, realistically. Yeah, there's no way I'm finding this. I have no clue. The time computer is a virtual machine. I mean, that'd be smart. Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of that movie. I want to watch it again. Unidentified researcher number 4, male Caucasian, approximately 45 years of age, with brown hair and indeterminate eyes, stands in front of the device to the northeast. Stands in front of the device to the northeast with his back to the observation room. Shot twice in the head at 7.2 seconds, killed instantly. Unidentified researcher number 5, male indeterminate, stands in the northwest corner, mostly obscured, presumably shot at approximately 7.8 seconds and drops down out of sight. Unidentified assailant number 1, male indeterminate, wielding a suppressed M4A1, enters first, shoots researcher number 4 and researcher number 5, then moves towards the device. Unidentified assailant number 2, male indeterminate, wielding a suppressed MP5N, enters second, turns left and shoots researcher number 1 and researcher number 2, then sweeps towards the southwest. Then it sweeps towards the southeast, Unidentified assailant number 3, male indeterminate, wielding a suppressed MP5N, enters third, turns right and moves under the observation room. Unidentified assailant number 4, male indeterminate, wielding a suppressed TMP, stays at the door covering the others. Okay. Building Euclid loop, temporal. So wait, this is just like a time loop and that happens while you're in the observation. So it's like some weird concept caused the explosion of whatever temporal reactor this is to imprint on maybe like only certain doorways to universes. So it's like the observation room can see it from within this structure, but you can't see it outside. So it's like taking existence on a different plane, and then on top of that, it's repeating itself over and over again. So there's some time explosion, either in the past in a parallel universe, or like some other interaction here. And the Foundation is capable of interacting with it, but it's so dangerous and fast that they have limited interactions with it. That is a headache and a half. Alright, 177. Forgot I was zoomed out. I saw the tag say toy, so this might be a cute toy. What the fuck? Oh, Carnage Rally. I thought this music track said Karma. I was like, what? What game do I have named Karma? Item number 177, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures, Strike Through. Due to the safe level of the object, 177 is to be contained in Dr. Caleb's room, to be moved only at his discretion or at that of a level 4 administrator on strike through. 177 is to be kept in a level 4 storage locker. During use of 177, standard rules of chess must be adhered to. Any test subject attempting to cheat or deviate from these rules is to be escorted from the room. Okay. Serious business chess. Description 177 is an 8x8 square standard chessboard measuring 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. This music, I've heard it before, but it sounds like Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Like an alternate soundtrack of it. On the board are 16 pawns, 2 kings, 2 queens, 4 bishops, 4 knights, and 4 rooks, totaling 16 black and 16 white pieces. All items are carved out of elephant ivory. Don't do this. The white pieces are movable and can even be removed from the board with minimal force. The black pieces, however, cannot be removed from the board or moved by any outside force. Forces in excess of 3 kilonewtons have been applied to the black pieces, only resulting in damaged equipment. So it's like a single-player chessboard and the pieces are permanently locked in. And whatever computer operates this from within the board probably makes sure that they never get destroyed. When a legal opening move is made using the white pieces, 177 enters an active state. When active, 177 can be used to play a game of chess using standard rules. White moves first, pawns can move 2 squares on first move, etc. The black pieces move autonomously, and after a move is made using the white pieces, that piece becomes immovable until black makes a move. So it kind of calculates for a second. When a piece is captured, it is moved off to the side of the board and removed from play automatically, so the board even controls the white pieces for you. In the case of the white side winning, the black pieces all return to their original positions, and no further effects are noted until a new game starts. If black should win, the black pieces do a celebratory dance, and the white pieces fall down before righting themselves to their original position. Should a stalemate occur, all pieces fall down and return to original positions. Yeah, this is a very cool one-player chessboard. Could hold on to this thing until the end of the universe. Or even past it into infinity. Addendum History of 177. 177 was brought into Foundation custody on 177 was brought into Foundation custody 03 double blank 1990 single blank following a routine sweep of antique stores in the area of London, England. The shop in question was found to be mundane, with the exception of 177, which was acquired by Dr. Caleb. The shop has since been under surveillance for any further anomalous activity. You like the ones that aren't dangerous? Me too. They're very, philosophical thought experiments. Partial test log. Test 001. White player. D177-01. Female. Caucasian. Age 25. Subject chosen for her aptitude in chess. Results of game. Results of game. Heavy casualties on black side, ending in checkmate for black after 60 moves. Speaking of Shin Megami Tensei earlier, Test 14. White player D177-1. Same subject as previous 13 games. Results of game. Few casualties on black side, ending in a resignation from 177-1 at 50 turns. Almost all white pieces were captured. This is the first recorded instance of 177 actually winning a game. It's learning! Test 25. White player. Blank, blank, blank. Male. Chinese. Age 34. Local chess champion in the town of Redacted. Jiangsu Province, PRC. Sorry if I botched pronunciation. Jiangsu? Mr. Blank was informed that 177 was operated remotely by an advanced chess computer developed by Sherman Computer Products. Results of game. 177 successfully promoted one of its pawns to a queen, and used this piece to place Mr. Blank into check several times before an eventual checkmate at 75 turns. Mr. Blank administered amnestics and released. Test 51. White player, blank blank, male, Japanese, age 50. Former Japanese national chess champion. Results of game. 177 had considerably long pauses between turns, often in excess of 10 minutes, and moved pieces slowly. Eventually, Mr. Blank resigned, declaring that the board was broken and taking too damn long. In future tests, time control will be used to ensure there are no repeats of this test. Mr. Blank administered amnestics and released. This chest is the best chest I've ever seen in my goddamn life. This is fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Level chess. People are freaking out about this chess computer. Getting sent to the Shadow Realm over, probably. Test 167. White player, Dr. Caleb, chess expert and head researcher on 177. Dr. Caleb requested to play a game with 177. Results of game. Checkmate for 177 at 154 turns. Dr. Caleb proclaimed that it was the best damn game of chess he had ever played, and expressed interest in a rematch. Ooh. Test 200. White player. Deep Blue chess computer. So IBM's gotten involved with this, huh? Results of game. 177 narrowly lost to Deep Blue in 50 moves. Since this time, 177's chess strategy has been noted to be greatly improving. Well, yeah, Deep Blue is on a class of its own. Test 406. White player Dr. Caleb. Results of game. Results of game. Checkmate for Dr. Caleb in 11 turns. A new record for 177. Dr. Caleb stated that 177, quote, must have cheated, citing the misuse of the en passant move. Footage shows that 177 played legitimately. En passant is cheating. Yeah. Caleb, that must have been a joke. That must have been a meta joke for this article. Test 529, white player, blank blank, 20 double blank world chess champion. Mr. Blank was informed that 177 was being controlled by an advanced chess computer developed by Sherman Computer Products. It's funny that spells SCP. Results of game, Mr. Blank lost to 177 in 90 moves, stating that whoever programmed this computer was a genius. Mr. Blank was administered Class A amnestics following testing and released. Just imagine that, being a chess champion. It's like your perfect chess dream up against this. This reminds me a lot of Hunter x Hunter and the final Gungi plays. Test 702. White player Rybka Chess Computer, winner of 2007 to 2010 World Chess Computer Championships. Results of game 177 won in 25 moves. Test 975. White player Anderson, a chess computer developed by Dr. Caleb with the express purpose of beating 177. Computer was built to be able to deviate from rules of chess and cheat if necessary. White pieces manipulated by robotic arm. Results of game. Game progressed normally until turn 63, when Anderson attempted to move the white queen in an L shape similar to a knight in order to achieve check. Following this, 177 was thrown at Anderson by an unseen force at over double blank kilometers per hour, resulting in the destruction of several vital circuits in the computer. New protocol. No cheating. Do I even need to say what would happen to a human if they cheated against this thing? Dr. Caleb. Interesting. Autonomous game, rewrite, safe, toy. This is like the god of chess embodied. You dare cheat against this divine law and it will invoke retribution. Otherwise it just laughs. Sometimes it'll lose because it's a deep learning algorithm object, but at the same time, it'll fucking eventually defeat everything. Just Hikaru no Go, the chessboard. I'm sure there's a sentient Go board out there somewhere too. That's one pissed chess. Don't fuck with this chess. It'll fuck you up, bro. Alright, 178. I wanted to read the George Washington one, this humaniform George Washington, but I really just wanted to do SCP Wiki tonight. There's something else I have planned, but it might have to wait. I'm already getting a little tired. I need to eat dinner. My sleep schedule's a little fucked too, so I don't know even what I'm gonna do. Will I sleep? Will I not? I don't know. But I'm hungry. I'm getting tired. Who knows? Maybe the stream will continue, but for the YouTube VOD, it's gonna end pretty soon. It will invoke a tournament. What did you just say? Invoke a tournament. It's like a new Magic the Gathering card. You must atone for your sins against chess. Item 178, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 178 is to be stored in a Class 3 anomalous object container guarded by no fewer than 2 armed personnel with level 3 clearance when not undergoing testing. Item is to be removed from containment only with the written permission of personnel with level 4 clearance or higher. Following incident number 178-14 Alpha, all tests are to be monitored remotely, and the presence of all personnel apart from test subjects in the testing area during experimentation is expressly prohibited. What the hell is a tournament? Description: 178 is a pair of white stereoscopic quote 3D glasses with a rectangular white cardboard frame and lenses of transparent blue and red, left and right lenses respectively plastic. The item exhibits no unusual physical properties apart from a slight discoloration of the cardboard consistent with age. When worn, the wearer begins perceiving large bipedal entities in addition to a... What? This is like Half-Life 2 Episode 2 glasses. When worn, the wearer begins perceiving large bipedal entities in addition to its ordinary surroundings. Entities reportedly exhibited docile and occasionally curious behavior. Reports include entities leaning over the shoulder of persons working and observing them with interest, with one exception. Any attempt by the wearer or any other personnel, see Incident Report number 178-14 Alpha, to directly interact with the entities results in severe lacerations suddenly appearing on persons involved. The appearance of lacerations is rapid and continues until the moment the wearer expires. The pattern of lacerations is always consistent with being slashed with three parallel tapered sharp objects of lengths varying between 14.2 and 27.4 centimeters, and maximum thickness varying between 2.9 and 8.1 centimeters. The other realm of slashing you to pieces. Recording and measuring devices used during testing failed to detect any anomalies, including while lacerations were appearing on subjects. Subjects do not report hearing any sounds emanating from the entities. Long-term observation of subjects exposed to the item reveals no lasting effects. Stereoscopic images viewed through the item appear three-dimensional. This shit is a pair of 3D glasses. You see shadow monsters when you put on 90s 3D glasses. That's sick. This is some fucking, Stranger Things type of shit. This is the Demogorgon or whatever. Addendum number 1. Item was recovered on double blank 19 double blank in blank Tennessee by Agent Redacted, operating as deep cover agent in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, who arrived in the town following reports of a single blank-year-old child being found dead in her second-floor bedroom, apparently as a result of an unusual mauling. That's sad. Agent Redacted noticed a blood-stained stereoscopic image of a Ferris wheel adjacent to where the child was discovered, and after some searching found the item under the child's bed where it had apparently been thrown during the child's death throes. Agent Redacted then proceeded to call a recovery team to his location. Following the recovery team's arrival, Agent Redacted wore the item and looked at the image, reporting nothing unusual until he turned his head to the left, whereupon he noticed an entity approximately, quote, an inch from his face leaning over his shoulder and looking at the stereoscopic image. The debriefing Agent Redacted reported also noticing several other entities in the room observing him and the recovery team. Agent Redacted refrained from attempting to interact with the entities, and the item was recovered without incident. Exactly, dude. You go to the upside down when you put the glasses on. I hate whenever an article kills children. It's so sad. Joner's saying that's awful. I fucking hate the concept of that. Addendum number 2. All experiments are to be logged in file number 178-E. Okay. Addendum number 3. Personnel with level 4 clearance are urged to read Incident Report number 178-14 Alpha. Reading Incident Report number 178-14 Alpha is mandatory for all personnel with level 4 clearance or higher overseeing or approving experiments with this item. Warning: failure to comply with Addendum number 3 is grounds for disciplinary measures. Clothing: Euclid humanoid intangible visual. So perhaps it was, some child had some magical mind powers, or this object's been around before this child ever discovered it. It's always hard to tell how something comes into being like this. It's an incredibly long page, but again, if you want to pause it, it is 178E. The sheer fact that it just kills a quote-unquote single blank young child. No thanks. I don't want to read any more about it. Okay, so here's 179. What the fuck? Okay. Mimetic defense agent. Interesting. This one could be anti-mimetic or cognito hazard. Item number 179. Object class strike-through, save on strike-through, Thaumiel. special containment procedures, 179 remains beyond the reach of currently known groups of interest, including the Foundation. All containment efforts are to be focused towards a Grade 3 omission cover-up, coupled with the discouragement or sabotage of exploration and research missions that attempt to study cis-Mercurian space and orbits that go through it. Description: 179 is a humanoid entity located at a constant distance of approximately 40,000 kilometers from the south polar region of the solar photosphere, locked to the rotation axis of Sol. However, it does not orbit it. The most recent recordings of 179 indicate that it seems to maintain a continuous orbit around the center of the galaxy. Through the combined effort of 43 years of continuous surveying, the external appearance of 179 has been defined as a human female of undetermined ethnic group of between 20 and 40 years of age. Its entire bodily surface is covered in or composed of a matte black material. Its hair appears to be composed of this material, measures over 34 kilometers long, and is constantly pushed away by solar wind. However, this part of 179 seems to reflect variable amounts of sunlight, this reflection being the phenomenon that indicated its existence to Foundation astrophysicists during 1940. Isn't Sol the sun? Yes. Sol translates directly to sun in Latin, and it also, in science, Sol always means our sun, so yes. Several markings or tattoos are placed throughout its bodily midline. Judging from their brightness, these markings might be of metallic composition and of a golden hue. That is some long hair. It clearly been living here for a while. Again, reminds me of the Type 102 TARDIS. This could be a support for our galaxy or something. Maybe this is just a highly intelligent deity that has some sort of manifest or hold over our galaxy. These tattoos include several symbols that have been identified as those typically representing the Sun and the 6 innermost planets of the solar system according to medieval alchemy, including in this order: dot, the symbol of gold in the subject's forehead, right underneath the hairline; dot, the symbol of Mercury under the nose, circling both lips; dot, the symbol of copper between the medial ends of its clavicles; dot, data expunged, auto-sensor level SC4 non-trivial cognitohazard detected, with the anatomically correct shape of a human heart placed over the location where a heart would be in a female human of the same apparent age and bodily proportions. Dot, the symbol of iron in the upper abdominal region. Dot, the symbol of tin in the lower abdominal region. Dot, part of a final symbol in the pelvic region. While the anatomy of this region makes its clear observation difficult, it has been hypothesized that the symbol of lead is also present and complete in the perineum region. This is like both alchemy and also maybe chakra-based. Maybe a golem. Definitely alchemy-based, living god type golem, maybe. Imagine if Galileo saw this shit. Oh man, luckily his telescope wouldn't reach far enough out. Far enough out. What the hell was that sentence? This music always reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie, but it's Mega Man Zero. Infiltration, this song is called. New words all day tonight. 179 keeps its ventral side oriented towards Earth most of the time, but it has been observed to look towards other areas on occasion. Redacted. All further data redacted as per Administrative Warning ES-26. Administrative Warning ES-26. Archive Warning Restricted 5/179. This is a newer article. As of double blank, quadruple blank, 179 has been reclassified at Thaumiel. All involved personnel with a clearance level below 4/179 will either be promoted or reassigned to fit this new classification. So again, fitting the lore of this series so far, we're now 4 over 179, just as we are 05 clearance. 4 over 179 will be either promoted or reassigned to fit this new classification, depending on their relevance for the continuated surveillance and cover-up operations as directed by the current head researcher for 179. All reassigned personnel will be subject to Polymath 8, memory redaction therapy, or D-class amnestics, in a high-dosage grade with a maximum retrograde effect of 10 years of experience, depending on the time spent working in 179 prior to its reclassification. This is a quite serious article then. I guess researchers approaching this one need the utmost caution, at least for their job, if not their whole life. 179's existence will be subject to an orbital misinformation standardized intelligence obstruction and neutralization campaign. As per omission, Protocol 4, items 4.5, 4.6, and 4.7, most documentation related to 179 has been classified Level 4, parentheses top secret. Any further data related to 179 has been classified Level 5, parentheses thaumiel, and will be made available only to authorized 5 over 179 personnel. So again, if we can read further into this, then we're technically of that class, of that personnel authorization. Be advised that unauthorized access to 179 research materials will be considered a Type 3B offense. Unauthorized data management while lacking appropriate global clearance, punishable by compulsory memory redaction therapy with immediate reassignment and/or demotion. ++ warning, unauthorized personnel will be exposed to a memetic defense agent. Generating memetic defense gestalt, a broader active, or gestalt. Alright, there is an image included. It has Hebrew symbology on it. It also has an atom. It has the foundation symbol. There is no description for the image, aside from what's actually on it. So let's take a look-see at this, shall we? Can I zoom in? Thank you. It appears to be an eye-shaped diagram of presumably alchemical, symbological, sort of Tau-based. It's just an eye diagram. It definitely fits some forms of like magical diagrams as well. In the main sort of pupil of the diagram, in the bottom left is a smaller SCP Foundation containment logo, basically. Descriptor. It has a circle around it as well with globule blobs in the bottom left, sort of conglomerated to bottom left west and bottom left southwest by south, and then a few more globules kind of closer to the top, otherwise just making a large circle. Again, making another containment logo, though, it looks like. Yeah, it's an SCP sort of patron stamp on top of the larger object in the iris, which is a circle encapsulating an atom symbol, or perhaps a 6-pointed star with a emptiness or orb in the middle of this star. It is very concentrically intertwined. It looks almost like metal, sort of MC Escher-esque, meeting at points within the star. And yes, again, it's covered by a circle. In the darkness of the eye are a bunch of letters which seem to spell out exist, K or Q, Q-U-E, so why exist maybe? K meaning, whatever it translates to in Spanish. At least in the bottom right. Seems to be repeating a little bit. Top left, S-T-A-A-D-U-A-I-N-I-I-A-I. Can't really discern a lot of the text here, but there is a bit of text in the background of the eye. And then again, on the outer rim of the iris, I guess, the sclera, I guess you could call it, is rounded square, rippling concentric. From a thicker outline to a smaller outline to an even thicker outline. Again, of just that rounded square. And then it makes the sort of ellipse curve of the eyes outside of this. So on the left side, we have an upper left in the black sort of tau on the top. Black with the white symbol, we have Greek, or not Greek, we have a Hebrew symbol. Again, in white on black. Again, creating some sort of like eyelid, and then underneath that is kind of like a stitching. It looks like a temporal, kind of like, again, Asimovian, what would we call it? Selden's plan. It looks like a time graph with, again, what appears to be maybe Hebrew text lining the lower lid of the eye where, you know, eyelashes would be or something. I can't read Hebrew, so I can't quite tell you what it translates to, but even the, what it looks like an archive of time, these lines, even these are written in Hebrew. One turns into like a silly cartoon nose-like bump and then goes up in the time scale, so it travels along the y-axis, just vertically. Everything else does appear to follow the horizontal x-axis. So we have some diverging paths and thicker text. I don't know what it is, just deeper black globules. All going in separate areas, but mostly converging on that x-axis. Then on the right-hand side, we have a mirror image of that, kind of. So bottom right, mirror image rotation, kind of. Bottom right, another symbol. Not sure if it's Hebrew or not. But again, a symbol in white with black. It is this time on the bottom right instead of the top left. And then just the inverse. A lot of text lining the eyelid where eyelashes would be. Lots of XY graph. The only major difference, the silly cartoon nose seems to have a divergence, but honestly it looks exactly the same. Maybe it might be the exact same. Yeah, it is some sort of weird magical diagram. It says in the top left, which there's like a bubble surrounding the diagram, presumably a slide to identify it. It says in caps gen.mon.02.06.2014.13.40.32. Top right says ref.scp-me-993-4646/099/221012. Bottom left says memebot v2.0.x.3. Bottom right says access.redacted.id.redacted. Oh, and the name of the image is scp-an-me-993.png. This definitely looks like some weird magical diagram. You should know Hebrew, you're Jewish, but you don't? Well, that's okay. No worries. No need to translate. All of my stuff that I'm saying is from, like, you know, 10, 25, 15 years ago, etc. of browsing 4chanx and stuff, and looking into mystical websites and whatnot, demonology and magic research and all that weird shit, so a lot of what I'm saying is just personal experience. 179 is sensitive to all radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum, intelligent and able to communicate through multiple anomalous means, including but not limited to radio and laser communications interference. Only one instance of 179 communication with Foundation personnel has occurred thus far, where 179 proved to be fluent in French. As this contact did not result in a clear statement of 179's intentions towards the Foundation and its mission, all efforts must be made to prevent contact by any known groups of interest with 179. Misinformation operations and other preemptive measures have been deployed. You want to learn? Well, I'm sure, I don't know the Jewish faith too well, but I'm sure if you approach someone in the community, they would teach you for free. At least someone who is knowledgeable. I think, at least, from my understanding, for some part of taking up the faith, you're required to read the Torah, I think. What is it? It's for, when you finally become a teenager, as a teenage boy, I think. So, like, when you're 16 or whatever, I don't know. I have no idea what it is. I was raised a Christian. I don't know these things. And I'm not a Christian by faith either. I'm not any of that. I'm an open-minded individual. Most recorded movements performed by 179 have been related to extraterrestrial threats, both anomalous or non-anomalous in nature, on a collision or orbital insertion course with the Earth. These threatening items have been identified as capable of causing CK-class reconfiguration events of diverse impact on human societies and earthly life in general, if allowed to reach Earth. So it's like Evangelion impact. If impact with Earth or orbital insertion occurs without proper response and containment by Foundation operatives, these items of interest may be capable of causing XK-class end-of-the-world scenarios. I wonder why this is credited as Thaumiel. Not sure you haven't been actively Jewish for years. I'm not trying to get into like religious talk or debate or anything. Just interesting. 179 will usually address an item or items of interest by pointing at them with an arm, and when more than one item of interest is present, will be able to generate additional limbs anatomically identical to its arms as needed. Survey data indicates that 179 performs other motions specific to each item of interest addressed, such as raising different fingers or moving its arms in an array of as-of-yet undecipherable patterns at fixed intervals. But whether these motions contain any information or not has not been determined to date. The limits of 179's detection capacities have not been clearly ascertained. While 179 has been able to detect potentially harmful objects beyond the trans-Neptunian region, those threats had been detected by other surveillance and exploration systems, usually under Foundation control, or in at least 3 separate instances, were visible to the naked eye from Earth. However, they had not been immediately recognized as threats. It has been hypothesized that 179 may only detect and react to active threats that remain detectable to other observing parties without the cis-Neptunian region, while being able to unerringly determine their harmful nature. So it's like a spacefaring god of wisdom, golem or something. I say god in the loose context, it could just be like a roaming deva or something, some lesser deity that lives in our galaxy. All items of interest approaching Earth within cis-Neptunian space that had considerable destructive capacity have been detected by 179 without failure, often when no observers known to the Foundation were aware of them. Look to the pointer in the sky. As such, 179 and all personnel, orbital equipment, and facilities dedicated to its surveillance remain the most reliable early warning system the Foundation possesses to detect and, when possible, prevent potentially dangerous incursions within surveyed space. 179 is able to determine which interplanetary objects pose a threat to Earth, humankind, or the earthly biosphere, which makes it a critical asset for the Composite Orbital Earthly Warning System (COEWS) project of the Foundation, which currently involves SCP triple blank, SCP quadruple blank, SCP double blank, hyphen quadruple blank, and SCP quadruple blank, XCP-OA-3 to 42. Footnote 1. Experimental Foundation Orbital Assets, XCP-OA, Site 34, Site 103, Site 98, Area 08, Site double blank, Site triple blank, hyphen single blank, and Command Site double blank, as well as several personnel embedded within different space agencies and international consortia related to space exploration. Well, this is a serious business one. All data of interest related to or obtained through 179 will be marked COEWS-179, which will be considered high-priority information to all Foundation departments. Interesting. Yeah, you're thinking of bat mitzvah, or bar mitzvah, I don't know how it's pronounced. Happens for Jewish people who become 12 or 13, which is they're coming into adulthood, basically. But enough religious stuff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Addendum 179-1, Notable Movements of 179. 13/12/1940, first recorded movement of 179. The entity that had remained with both arms crossed raises an arm towards a previously undetected interplanetary object on a collision course with Earth. After its impact in an event that damaged the city of data expunged extensively with large quantities of anomalous mucus secretion and left more than 1,300 dead, which, combined with the anomalous phenomena related to redacted as per previous experiment, remaining central item reclassified to SCP-179 returned to its original position. 2209-1942, sixth recorded movement of 179. The entity raises an arm towards redacted on a collision course with Earth. Item of interest crashes nearby Auckland, New Zealand on 04/10/1942. Item separates upon impact into several devices of mechanical nature. Data expunged. Recently formed sub-entities with minimal civilian casualties. Once Foundation operatives contain the item proper, which is reclassified redacted, and terminating most sub-entities, 179 returns to its original position. Mobile Task Force's redacted all data on involved assets expunged from records proceeds to track and destroy all remaining sub-entities. So this, space deity entity is like our Skyrim quest compass. It's just pointing to everything important we need to take care of. Double blank, 19, double blank, 18th recorded movement of 179. The entity raises its right arm towards data expunged. Up to this date, the entity has kept one of its primary arms, shifting from one to the other as necessary, pointing in the same direction. 0103-1949, 23rd recorded movement of 179. The entity raises an arm towards an Amur-class asteroid that has adopted a collision course with Earth. The Foundation uses a combination of several SCP objects to launch a remote-controlled interplanetary vehicle that acts as a gravitatory tow line. This mission is announced a success on 03/05/1951. At this time, 179 returns to its original position. Note: surveying elements observe that the entity performed a motion that could have been a nod. Reclassification request to Euclid status filed and denied. 13/12/1998, 403rd recorded movement of 179. The entity stops watching the Earth for 2 days and 13 hours when it looks towards the Jovian system. Once this interval is over, 179 looks at Earth again. Something happened over there, huh? 0909-2002, 487th recorded movement of 179. 179 points at an armed Type 11 dimensional weapon. Further data on Scp-11DW expunged as per 0511 Executive Command. Type 11, but it ends in DW. It's a fucking TARDIS. It's a fucking Type 11 TARDIS. Doctor Who, XCP Type 11 Doctor Who expunged. Confirmed. Anyway, joke initiated. Launched from Area 8 to test 179's detection capacities. Item remains in a primed configuration for double blank minutes, ready to be launched at a test location on Earth. It is not identified by 179 until it is 3,670 kilometers above the Earth's surface, when 179 reacts to it as a threat and points at it. Device subsequently reconfigured to a standby configuration and redirected towards its primary target, data expunged, still in transit from the Kuiper Belt, or Kuiper Belt? Kuiper? It's, the Kuiper Belt is outside of Pluto's influence, is what that's saying. 179 returns to its previous position. So it could be a TARDIS. Could consider a TARDIS a threat. Hey, welcome back from your bathroom trip, homie. Addendum 179-2, Events of 1610-2003. 179 was first approached by the Blank-2 probe, a microsatellite equipped with multiple recording, analysis, and communications devices incorporated into the Blank probe in a clandestine operation. The Blank probe acted as a relay for the Blank-2 probe and Foundation mission control. Okay. Clandestine operations? Contact and communication with the entity were not foreseen nor programmed. When visual contact with 179 was established, obtaining an unprecedentedly clear, very high-resolution image of its surface, the entity begins to move its lips, forming the phonemes of a greeting in spoken French. What follows is a complete translation of the exchange. Oh, I don't even have to go to the French version of the wiki for this. 179/1734-23, I'm just going to read time indexes, and then any other name. Hello. 1739-38, I'm the lookout. 1742-38. My name is Saul Susur? What the fuck? My name is Saul Susur. Do you like my brother? I like him too. He is big. So big. 1743-01. And so very warm. 1743-11. If you want to talk to me, please use your satellite to weave talk to me. It'll be easier than coming here, probably. Entity remains immobile until 1755-53. Researchers assigned to 179 detect this movement. Level 3 researcher Thomas Graham, who is fluent in French, is selected by head researcher Redacted to conduct a possible exchange with 179. The Blank-2 probe is used as a radio relay from this point onward. 179 is able to receive, understand, and transmit radio communications. 179's transmissions read as a monotone, featureless human voice that speaks in French. The subsequent exchange occurs with a 16 minutes and 39.6 seconds delay between each message, corresponding to the distance between 179 and Earth and return, that will be omitted in the rest of this document. Okay, no more timescale. Researcher Graham T. Who are you? 179. My name is Sal Sue Sor. I am the lookout. I behold. I often see. I often warn. Almost always when I have to. That way there is further life. Researcher Graham T. What do you mean, the lookout? 179. It's me. Parentheses smiles. Researcher Graham T. We have noticed the significance of your movements. Who do you report to? 179. To those who know where to look. To you. To those who want to look. Not just you, but you too. You too. Researcher Graham. When you say brother, are you referring to the sun? 179. He was my brother, Saul. He warms me up. Oh, so he's saying the primal soul. Okay. Soul. I see. He is my brother, Soul. He warms me up. He is carrying fire and loving light. He caresses me with his arcs and his voice and renews me. He is the source of all true light. He is your source. Researcher Graham, where do you come from? 179. I was born a child. The entity nods towards Earth. Researcher Graham, for how long have you been in your current location? 179. I do not want to tell you. Parentheses smiles. 179 adopts a fetal position, remains looking towards the Earth and pointing at Redacted. Face of the entity remains visible from the Blank-2 probe. Researcher Graham. How do you reach your... Let me read this really quick. Soul Suisor. Researcher Graham, how did you reach your current position? How did you acquire the properties you currently possess? 179. I was grown into a woman. This is how I live now. Researcher Graham, could you give us further details, please? 179. No. Researcher Graham, we would like to know more about you. Why not tell us? 179. I am sorry. I won't be yours. I can't belong to any one person. Researcher Graham, the Foundation's work protects all of humanity, all life on Earth. Don't you find this work of the greatest importance? 179. Yes, I am doing it. Look upon me and know. Researcher Graham. If we have understood your capacities correctly, we believe you could do far more than that, sharing all the information you have, not just about the dangerous threats against humankind and Earth, could be of great benefit to all parts involved. 179. I am too big, and you are too small. There is a sea of nothing and islands of light. I am their shore. To you come the monsters, the pounding fists of void, the longing gods beyond our knowledge. I am the lookout. I see the ripples in their wake. You want me to pledge my sight? No to you, only to you, so you, only you, can be greater. Even if you find restrain, defend. You want me to be yours. That is not why I am here. There are others. Others I assist, others I warn. Others beyond your thin walls of gray, dry, paste rock. Others beyond the reach of your weary satellites. Others beyond the home, our home. Others I know, others I love. Others you won't care for. Others that came before, and, overall, others beyond the little walls of rules and bone and laws and flesh and memories and oaths you build around yourselves until you don't even remember them. Others I love, dearly, and yet, only my brother is an equal to me. Researcher Graham. Excuse me, I don't understand what you mean by others. Could you please explain yourself with other words? 179 smiles, but I have no words left. Just cleaned your hairbrush, and Jesus, that's a lot of loose hair. I always have hair falling out whenever I brush my hair. I fucking hate it. You know what, though? That's the perks of having long hair, huh? Closing. Despite several communication attempts, 179 did not perform any other movements nor transmit other messages. Up to this date, 179 has not responded to any message coming from any Foundation contact team or any other efforts from known groups of interest. Electromagnetic, extraterrestrial, humanoid, international, K-class scenario, predictive, sapient, sentient, sun, thaumial transmission. Well, like I guessed, kind of like a friendly lesser deity golem just out there protecting us. Alright, here's 180. The life of a long-haired Giga Chad, you know it. I mean, the longest hair was the 179. Was it like 39 kilometers or whatever? Item number 180, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. All headwear, including hair clips and bows, is restricted in Reliquary Research and Containment Site 76 for all outside security. Anyone violating this rule is subject to complete physical search and auditing of travel within Site 76 and DNA identity testing. The fuck? 180 is not to leave its research laboratory. The current appearance of 180 is to be reported to Security daily. Security is to be notified immediately should personnel encounter someone they don't recognize in their department, performing or dressed as if they belong there, as their identity might have been stolen. Description: 180 appears as a hat or other form of headwear or hair accessory. Any individual who places 180 on their head Any individual who places 180 on their head will have their identity stolen by the hat. This effect causes the original host to be completely unrecognizable, even to people strongly familiar with the subject. Individuals observing a subject who has had their identity stolen will only be able to vaguely describe features of the individual such as hair and eye color, skin tone, and clothing, but will not be able to recognize the identity of the subject. Host subjects are unable to convince others of their identity. This effect lasts until 180 has selected a new host. Once 180 has stolen the identity of a host subject, when 180 is placed upon any other subject's head, the identity of the first subject (host) is imprinted on the second subject. This is possible not only for people, but for animals and inanimate objects. For example, subjects have mistaken dogs, statues, and coffee tables for the host of 180 when the hat is placed on these objects. Oh my god, it's Cappy from Mario! Something like 34 kilometers? What the fuck? Ultra hair. Puts Rapunzel to shame. 180's appearance changes upon changing host. However, the effect is only visual. The object has appeared as a top hat, a skull cap, a baseball cap, a bandana, a hair clip, a hijab, and a motorcycle helmet, amongst other objects. Amogus. Imaging using MRI and 3D ultrasound has shown that 180 is in reality nothing more than a worn length of linen or cloth resembling a veil or shroud. Placing 180 on the head properly actually covers the face. Research has been unable to explain how and why radiation, parentheses visual and infrared, is manipulated by 180 to produce false images. Like high-level science magic or something. Radiation-based science magic. This is literally Cappy from Mario. I haven't played Odyssey yet, but I know what you're talking about. Clothing, Euclid, metamorphic, sensory, tactile, visual. And yeah, that was the last of them. I'm going to skip 2776. As cool as it looks. Really quick though, I guess I'll open up what it links to. Oh boy, Marshall Carter in Dark. Let me just highlight all of this. Again, if you wanted to read this, I'm sure I'll return to it at some point because it is a mainline entry. There's a lot of spoiled shit too for some reason. And then we have our 4/2776 authorizations. Wait, what? Okay, there's just another one. Okay. Again, if you just want to read this shit, and there we go. Let's return to the main series menu for this. And let's see, what did we read tonight? 171 to 180. Collective Brain Foam, The Gear Man, The Sculpture, the original, also known as Peanut, Ventriloquist's Dummy, Treasure Map, Observable Time Loop, Checkmate, 3D Specs, Soul Susor, and Identity Thieving Hat. Well, thank you very much for dropping by, enjoying some SCP Foundation Wiki with me. Like I said, I'm a little tired already. It's late/early as fuck. So, hey, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.